It's the Jaye and Thomas Podcast, an hour of commentary on today's top stories, current events, or just life in general. And here are your hosts, Jaye and Thomas Darden.
Hey everybody, welcome to the Jaye and Thomas Podcast. Thank you all for being with us today. Hope you all are doing all right out there. We are coming off of a very special episode that now everything's kind of back to normal. Well, I say normal. What is normal? You can like, comment, and subscribe below if you can define normal for us. But we're just now getting back into the groove of things. Dad's down in Ecuador, and I'm back up here in Tennessee. And we're going to start off our hour like we normally do and ask Thomas how he's doing. So, hey, Dad, how are you?
I'm good. I'm missing you. It was fun having you down here. I've gone into separation anxiety and
yes, indeed. As everyone I'm sure will see in the previous episode, that I was recently down at Ecuador on site, as it were, and we were able to spend several days together. Too few days, as many people mentioned to us, but I didn't really get that vibe until right near the end, where we had our driver, Jahaldo, just rolls up, bang, pulls up, and then it's over. Like, the trip ends almost instantaneously. And that was like, oh, man, that wasn't very long. And it just kind of happened. So make sure out there that you are able to spend time with your loved ones and cherish every moment you get. And do it to it, my friends. Do it to it. So,
and if you get to share any time with people from Canada, be sure and do that, because they're the best.
They are. Shout out to our lovely folks and friends from Canada that watch the podcast. Were able to hang out with us in Ecuador. Had a fantastic quote from Bo that when I went down to Ecuador, all I found was Canadians, and he said, "Well, when you go to Canada, all you'll find is Pakistanis." So it was that was excellent stuff. So.
There you go.
Yeah, good things there. Luckily, the world is one giant melting pot, and everybody's moving around everywhere. So I don't know why folks in the Middle East would want to go to somewhere where it's sub-zero temperatures all the time, but maybe they got tired of being hot. So possibly.
Maybe so.
Maybe. I have no honest idea. I guess they all bought winter coats when they got up to Canada. So nothing too crazy. But
there you go.
Yep. So made it back through the airport and all the shenanigans. I will never travel overnight or long distance any other way than how I did coming back from Ecuador, where, as you saw in the video there, Dad, that my seat, I couldn't even touch the wall in front of me, and my chair could lay down. And I had a bunch of plugs and a giant screen and all this stuff, and it was wonderful. So.
Yeah, I saw beverages and TV and snacks and all that stuff, man.
Yeah, it was pretty fantastic. Not gonna lie. So now it's gonna be a little bit pricey, but it is definitely worth it to have a majority of your 1 a.m. flight be asleep, and the steward and stewardesses don't mess with you, and you just do your thing, and you're good to go. So nothing too wild there. Being profiled in the airport, being probably the only person there who is like myself. I was the very first one called for a random security check, being the guy going back to the United States at 2 a.m. from Guayaquil.
The pasty little white boy, they wanted to see what you were smuggling.
Yeah, and I was very happy that the customs officer down there, or the security down there, was wearing a mask, because when they opened up my luggage, it was all my dirty clothes, right? So it could have very well just knocked them out cold, and then there'd be a biohazard there. So we were lucky, and nothing too crazy happened, and we were good to go. So that was fun to walk down 3 flights of steps at 2 a.m. before hopping on my big comfy plane seat bed thing and doing it to it. So pretty wild, but made it back in one piece, and nothing too crazy going on. So pretty easy going. But
yep,
you get what you pay for, right? So
that's right.
That's what we
exactly
got to
right.
there. You wanted to talk about a few things today, where, as you eloquently put it, Slow Joe becoming a hero versus staying
a zero,
a zero with the what do you call it, Cabal / Afghanistan incident. So, do you want to have a quick little chat about that?
Before I start on that, I wanted to show this.
Sure.
And if people look, it's the China strategy to replace America as a global superpower. And people wonder what's going on in China. This right here will tell you. This will tell you what's going on in China and how we are enabling the Chinese economy and helping them along with their plan to dominate the world.
Well, there you go.
So,
I don't know why it seems as though they are dominating the world, but right now they're looking pretty hot and heavy with their current happenings and what's going on there. But now that they see that the U.S. is such a diaper wearing softy, they'll probably make a move on Taiwan before long, and that'll be a shame. Anyway, they're gonna try to. The media will try to flip this complete disaster.
Yeah.
In Afghanistan, in Kabul, and they'll try to flip it and make Joe look like a hero, and he's not a hero. He's a zero, and he's just completely screwed this up. And you watch in the next couple of weeks that they'll try to flip it and make him look like, what he had to deal with. He's been the greatest president of all time to handle this and do that. And it's like, no, you're a complete, you're a complete buffoon, man, because y'all knew this was coming. One of the things that I didn't understand was listening to all this craziness was we had Bagram Air Base was a strategic stronghold of the U.S. military, 2 landing strips, and it was nestled off in the mountains, from what I understand.
Yeah.
And we turned that loose, and it was overrun within days. And we moved to Kabul Airport, which has 1 runway, and no, it's not a military stronghold. And it's about a 20-minute helicopter flight from Kabul to Bagram, and I never have understood why I can't understand why we would release a air base that we've had all this time and let it be overrun. And now the people can't get to the Kabul airport to be transported out. And Slow Joe said, well, there won't be anybody airlifted from, buildings with helicopters. Okay. Well, there was. So anyway, I just think that the media will flip it, try to make him look like go from a zero to a hero. And I just don't think anybody's going to buy it. But to me, it's just all a distraction. Because while nobody's looking, they slipped through the infrastructure bill, $3.5 trillion with a T, $1 trillion infrastructure bill. They're trying to slip that. It's not. Don't look at what's going on in this hand, because this hand down here is doing something else. It's all a distraction. It's all a distraction so that they can get their agenda, keep their agenda moving. But okay, there you go.
Well,
that's my opening monologue.
Yeah. Well, it's something that the media is going to spin whatever they want to do, and it's going to really depend on what media outlets that you're watching and paying attention to will determine whether or not what you say happens is going to come to fruition, right? Where if you're watching, Fox News, One USA, whatever the hell network it is, whatever, like if you watch the right-wing sources, then you're going to get, or Shapiro, Crowder, Bongino, whomever, you're going to get the Slow Joe's is being Slow Joe and nothing is going to change and he's doing a shit job. And then if you look at something like mainstream media, you're going to most likely get what's more of a, hey, look, like things are happening for the better. And just like you said, it is a bit of a distraction from what is actually happening or what potentially is going on. But it's not only in the, Grandpa Joe dynasty, right? That's happened forever.
We've been there. We've been there 20 years. We've been in Afghanistan 20 years. You didn't learn from the first 5 or 10 years. You didn't learn anything. 20 years and billions and billions and billions of dollars spent. And the place fell in a weekend. The country. Really?
I mean, but doesn't that kind of seem like...
Come on, man.
Come on, man. That seems more like show than it does anything else, right? Where it's a catchy headline, it's very provocative, and it's something that it's grabbing your attention, just like, hey, they just slipped through a bill that's X amount of trillions of dollars going to spend on whatever they want, versus, oh, look at the, like, it's kind of like when, there's an infant, right? And then they, shake the keys in front of them or shake the little rattle. And then like, hey, look what's over here. And then they, feed them the crappy peas or whatever it is like that. And then they eat it. And then they're like, what's happening? The little infant, us being fed the information, doesn't really know what's going on. We're just being fed something that's kind of mucky, but we're being titillated and distracted by, world problems and yada yada, something to distract ourselves from the coronavirus, distract us from, the jobs happening right now, distract us from this, that, and the other, and it seems to be working flawlessly, if that's the case.
Yeah, mask mandates for school kids. Oh, yeah, it's working. They're trying to work it.
It sounds like it.
Work it.
I mean, well, and that's kind of what's happening, right? Where they're doing what they got to do, and you're going to have, media say one thing, and you're going to have the educated or uneducated or whatever you want to call it is going to be doing their shtick. Where you'll have 7, 8, 9-year-olds saying, this recent shooting wasn't too terrible because we have this stuff going on in school, right? Versus you'll have another 7, 8, 9-year-old talking to a committee about masks where, oh, your parents clearly wrote this random excerpt from whatever, and they're going to have this child who clearly doesn't speak in these sorts of sentences and tones and words and all this stuff organically, and they're going to talk about this, that, and the other. So it's all about being provocative. It's all about catching your attention and distracting you from other things. So, watch the keys, and then what's going on, and they're gonna do stuff behind folks' backs and pass things and do votes and yada yada.
But the strained peas look the same coming out as they do going in, right?
That is yet to be determined. So,
no, I'm telling you, I saw them when you were little.
Well, there you go. I'm sure everyone wants to, like, comment, subscribe if you want to hear about
smash that like button. Yeah.
Smash the peas that like they smashed the like button like they smashed up the peas before they went into my little crying orifice there. So
this is pretty good. It just came across the wire. Supreme Court orders Trump's remain in Mexico policy reinstated.
I don't know what that means.
Well, they don't want them. That Trump had the border figured out. And only had a few more miles of the wall built. All the stuff, all the equipment was down there to build the wall. All the construction equipment, it was already paid for. All the people down there all they had to do is put it up. and there wasn't that many miles to go, and they put a complete halt to it. But he had to remain in Mexico. We don't want you here. That what they would do is, and he had an agreement with the president of Mexico, stop flooding the border with these people. So it was put just as much on the Mexican border at the Mexican people and the Mexican country as it was on the U.S. country to stop them from coming in. So he had the cooperation of Mexico, and then Joe just said, "Come on, don't worry about all that. Just come on. And so now they finally gone to the Supreme Court and said, "You got to put a stop to this."
Wow.
Because they're getting tens of thousands a month over, so many months, and it's getting out of control. So,
well, it seems as though things were out of control for some time. But something that I want to ask is why, like, let's say people were coming in from Canada. Why don't we care about that versus there being a air quotes lack of a border down in on the Mexican border? What's the difference there, bud?
Canadian border's closed. Can't go back and forth. Canadian border's closed. I don't know if you knew that, but it is. There's no travel between Canada and the United States. They haven't opened that border yet.
Yeah.
So at least the two countries are participating in what they need to do to keep things separated. Down south, you don't even have to use the word border anymore. Mexico's a new state in the Union.
Well, I'll believe that when they start paying taxes. So
okay, well, it's out of control. No, they're not ever going to pay taxes.
Well,
they're not going to pay taxes, and we're going to pay them under the table, and they're going to do things that everybody else wouldn't do, and all that horse shit.
However, in your many years of work, you're going to tell me that you never...
No, because we had what was called an I-9.
Well, it was called an I-9.
You filled one out. Where you work, you might not remember it, but I guarantee you filled one out.
I bet you did.
Because you had to produce 2 forms of ID on the I-9 to prove that you were a citizen of the United States.
Okay, then.
For the labor force. I've filled out hundreds of them over my years. And you want the Labor Department to come down on you like rain, have mistakes on those when they audit you or something, or don't fill one out, or you can't produce one for Joey Bag of Donuts or something. No, it doesn't work that way, man. No, it doesn't work that way.
It don't work that way. Well, you heard it here, folks.
Construction, landscaping, and people that work out like that they can get away with doing, get away with not having the paperwork, or they can stay a half a step ahead of the auditors. They might get away with that, but no, not in any business I've ever been in.
Well,
nobody
to you.
Yeah, I know, right? Nobody.
Well, alrighty then. That's pretty wild. You had that one loaded in the chamber there. So
that's right.
That's it. Hey, don't come at you. yeah, that's it, man. So that's pretty wild. I did see that on my random news feed on like Google, the Google app on my phone. It on your front page, it just randomly has ads or random articles, and it says that Biden's ratings are dropping, and that's going to hurt in Congress. And I thought, nobody cares. Like, that's not something I'm studying right now. And it is what it is, but it's just these little headlines, that come through, and it's just, bam, here's this.
The midterm elections in 2022 will be here before you know it.
That's
watch
true.
And see. And if the GOP doesn't take back over the House and the Senate, then we're doomed. But I think they will, because they see what a cluster it is, and I don't think the media or all the fraud could dig them out.
Well,
I was watching where they caught a guy in California. Now they're doing a recall of the governor in California, and if I'm not mistaken, it's like the election's like September the 14th. They caught a guy in a traffic stop that had 300 ballots in his car, along with guns and drugs.
Well, sure.
But he had 300 ballots. What? 300 ballots in a car?
Yeah, why not?
Where does he? What is that? What?
I mean, it's a scenario where,
I bet 299 of them weren't his.
well, you have to understand this too. Like, if he had ballots, what if they were all voting for the next person? Or if there were ballots in there, were they filled out?
I don't know. They just said 300 ballots, guns and drugs.
Okay.
And I thought, well, that's all got to go together. Well, I understand. They might have been empty. He might have been taking them to the old folks' home. He might have been taking them to the cemetery and giving them to the dead people. Yeah, no telling where he was going or how he ended up with them. But he had them. He shouldn't have 300 ballots. I don't give a damn where he's delivered.
Well, I'm going to get ballots too and just hold them. And then you'd be like, you shouldn't have those ballots. And it's like, well,
You
I have
shouldn't.
them. And that's just what's
You
happening.
shouldn't have those ballots.
I'm just going to do
You
it.
know what's interesting is my brother, your uncle, lives in Georgia, and when he voted the last time,
Yeah.
he voted absentee. He's in his 70s, and he's not going to get out and go stand in line and all that kind of stuff. He should, but he doesn't. And I'm not mad at him. So he got an absentee ballot, and he voted. Within the next election that came around, he wanted to vote in the I guess the special election that the two senators or whatever were having.
Mm-hmm.
And he tried to get another ballot, and every time he went online, it wouldn't let him go online. Now he's real tech savvy.
Yeah, that makes sense.
If you know what I mean.
Mm-hmm.
Real tech savvy. Yes. And he said he couldn't sign up. He couldn't get through. And it wouldn't let him. It didn't matter what time of the day he went or what day he went.
Yeah.
He could not sign up to get another ballot. And he said, I'll almost guarantee you they found out that I voted Republican and they won't let me sign up. He said it's probably rigged like that. And he's real tech savvy. So
that's something that's kind of interesting, where there's an issue with him not being able to get back on and wanting to vote and whatnot. However, one of the issues that we're going to have with that is we're never really going to know whether or not, like, let's say he voted Democratically, right? And then he voted on the Democrat side, and he still couldn't log in. Well, then does your, argument fall apart because it actually just didn't matter and they have a crappy system? Or is it really, they're stopping, anybody with an R beside their name or whatever, or,
It's Georgia.
So.
It's Georgia. It's kind of like it's California. We talked about we talked about that the last time.
Yeah,
and
that's
we talked about New York. So
well. And do we know who's even like running for what? Isn't it Gavin Newsom? Is that the guy?
Yes, it is, and he's the one they're trying to get rid of. And right now, Larry Elders is running a couple of points ahead of the closest person running.
Larry Elder is running against Gavin Newsom. That's awesome.
Yes, he is.
Wow.
And now they're trying to say, you know who Larry Elders is, right?
Yes, I know his shtick and his spiel.
No, I'm just saying that now they're trying to say that he's a black man promoting white supremacy.
Well, there you go. I mean, well,
anything to attack the guy.
Yeah.
He's been on the radio all these years, and a lot of people didn't know that he was an African American until he came out and ran for office. And now all of a sudden, it's a bad thing that he's he's a different color than you and I.
It's something
that's
where
ridiculous.
Like at this point now, it's not so much you can be, black, white, red, yellow, whatever, but if you are going against the agenda of this side or this side or whatever, it doesn't matter. You're just, touting whatever the absolute worst part of the other side is, which really is something that's really kind of crappy, because we operate in these extremes so often now that it's a scenario. Even Larry Elder has said this about himself. He's been called an Uncle Tom and this and that before, and it's something where he that's a part of his shtick and his story. And he's like, no, you can just work hard enough and be successful if you want to be, because I believe his father went to California and sat in the unemployment office for like 3 days before finally he was able to get a job, and then he was like cleaning up in like a bread factory or something like that, and then he got a second job, and then finally he opened up his own restaurant. And Larry Elder, didn't talk to him for a long time, and then finally, because the dude was tired and he was upset because he had to work so friggin' hard, and more power to him. And then finally, that they reconnected, and which was an incredible story. Y'all should all go and look up the Larry Elder and what he has to say and whatnot. And I don't know, he comes off as not expressing the victim mentality like we see just many people do nowadays. Everyone says,
I had never heard of him until they mentioned his name running for governor. I'd never heard of him.
Oh, okay, cool. He's been on, the Ben Shapiro show and, a few other places, and he, talks fast, and he's very smart, and he's very articulate, and he's ready to go, man. Like, don't mess around with him. It'll be very interesting to see if he, how far he gets along in that, because I can't imagine California with a, with a black Republican governor. Like, that would just kind of turn things on its head, man. Like, it would just be very interesting to see the fallout of that, basically.
Right.
It'd be pretty
I think Bruce, Caitlyn Jenner running out there too. Yeah, I think
I thought that she was running as well. I'm not 100% sure
maybe
if how far ahead she is in the polls and whatnot, but it was interesting because she even came out as a little bit red herself when they were discussing certain topics, and it just threw everybody for a loop. And it's something where no matter how many boxes you check on the identity politics card, if you don't share the right thoughts and feelings behind certain ideologies or policies, then you're still going to get the shaft, which is kind of the point, right? It's a scenario now where it's almost circling back, right? Where you're actually talking about, what are someone's policy thoughts versus let's not have a character attack. Let's not see how many boxes the person checks on the checklist of identity politics and all this. Like, what do they stand for, and are they going to follow through?
Right. That makes sense. Well, another thing that was brought to my attention is they've started calling Biden Pino, Pino.
Okay.
President name only.
I wonder who started doing
great.
that.
That's great, because they call the Republicans rhinos, Republican name only, that don't take care of business in Congress. Well, now they've started calling Pino. That's great, man. I love that. That's so cool.
Wonderful.
Everybody needs a little cartoon name there. Slow Joe and Swallowing Hairs. Speaking of presidents, the president of Ecuador announced today, President Lasso, announced today that Ecuador will be housing Afghan refugees as a staging place until they can find somewhere else for them to go.
Well, there you go.
Yeah, that was an announcement today, and there's several people up in arms about that, because they've already had an influx here, as you saw in your visit, of Venezuelan people that are fleeing their country, and they came down here, and they're two different cultures. And so the people down here are getting kind of jacked up about, what are you going to do? I don't know what they'll do about it. They'll accept them just like Tennessee accepted the refugees in the middle of the night in Chattanooga, Tennessee. I'll never forget that. After they told them, don't bring them here. The immigrants on the plains. So anyway,
immigrants on the plains.
I thought that was interesting, though, that they're going to bring some here as a staging, as an agreement with the United States.
Wow.
Ecuador has an agreement with the United States. Yes. That comes to that from that NATO or United Nations bullshit that they fall into. Yeah. Everybody doesn't get scratched. You scratch me, I scratch you.
Yeah. Well, it is nice to see that other countries are taking refugees and they are having to bear some of the proverbial weight that the United States seemingly does all the time. They don't
have to come here. They don't have to come here. We came here to get away from the States. They don't have to bring them here.
Oh wait.
Oh yeah.
Hold up. You said you came here to get away from the States, but are you really saying that you went to Ecuador to not be around folks who aren't like you? Is that let's spin this. We're entering the spin zone.
Let's don't.
So you went down to Ecuador to kind of flee
to retire and relax, where my money would go farther.
Okay. So
when I play
the tape back and it says we came here to get away from that sort of thing, it's like we got a hot take here, folks, from Thomas down in Plias.
Oh, easy now, easy cut.
Yeah.
Hit the button. Beep, beep, beep.
Don't send your immigrants or your refugees to Ecuador. That I left the States to get away from states.
The states, yeah, the state of mind of the United States.
Well, there you go. You mean one of the greatest countries that has ever been or ever will be there, good sir?
Yes, I do. Put a mask on your child and send them to school. Yeah.
Hey,
speaking of masks, did you see?
Wear the mask.
Did you see? No, don't. Who cares? Did you see where the 75 doctors walked out of the hospital down in Florida, Palm City?
No.
Palm City or Palm County, Florida. 75 doctors, even the ones on shift. Now you're taking care of me, and it's like, hold up a minute, I got to walk out with my buddies in protest of the people coming to the hospital that are not vaccinated, that are taking up beds, and I'm out here going,
yeah, perfect.
And he's going to walk out to stand out front and protest with the other doctors, and here I am I'm having a heart attack in the hospital, and he's going to walk out.
Is that provocative because they're doctors? I mean, I don't think you would have any sort of issue with like police, truck drivers.
Do no harm. Do no harm. Do no harm.
Okay.
Don't they take an oath?
Perfect.
Do no harm.
Perfect. So is doing no harm not doing something, or is doing no harm doing the wrong thing?
You want to be a doctor, or you want to be a political activist? If you want to be a political, I'm all for it, man. I'm all for it. Get out of the doctor profession. Stop being a doctor and go be a political activist. You can't. No, they've already jammed enough politics in med. They've already put enough politics in the medicine that they're shoving down your throat already. They're already shoving that shit down your throat. But if you're going to be a doctor, be a doctor. If you're not going to be a doctor and be a political, then go be a political actor, run for office and raise money. And I'm not mad at you, but pick one or the other, because you can't do both. You can't be political and be a doctor.
Yeah, you can. You can be political and do anything nowadays. That's one of the whole big shticks, right?
No.
Is
no.
Yes.
No.
How about yes?
No. No.
It's like no.
That's why.
No.
No. That's why I love you so much. No.
Well, there you go.
No.
Yeah. No. So you can be political or have that sort of voice now, because that's the big thing touted right now, right? Is everybody wants to hear your opinion. Everybody wants to know what you have to say and what you have to think. And you, right now. And that's fine. I've even heard of...
Did you push my surgery back to walk out with your buddies?
100%.
Elizabeth, this is it. I'm coming to see you.
Yeah, you hear
This is it. This is the big one. This is,
you know, and it's like, peace, I'm going to go outside for about 10 minutes. See you. Well, I've seen things online that would just make you puke, man. There are things online right now talking about, we're going to put every non-vaccinated person at the back of the line for hospital visits and doctor visits.
Yes,
right?
I've already seen that. I saw that too.
It's like, hey, we're going to say, you're not vaccinated? Well, oh,
but then when they realized the liability of leaving me on the operating table, then the media is trying to flip it where the doctors didn't walk out in protest. They tried to, the very next day, they tried to flip it when they go, man, you know, we're pretty smart, but we didn't think this all the way through. Because Johnny Banana's in there. He's something's wrong. I didn't take care of him. I was outside with my buddies, and we're standing hand to hand or shoulder to shoulder, and Johnny Bananas is in here dying, and his family's going to sue the hell out of us and the hospital and me because I'm out front. Can't do both. Can't do both, man. Can't do both. Get out of the doctor business. That's all I'm saying. You can't do both.
That's all I got to say.
They realize the liability. They realize the liability, and then they turn their tail and run back inside and go, oh, we wasn't walking out. We wasn't protesting. And they were protesting people that were coming in with COVID, unvaccinated people coming in with COVID.
Yeah.
And filling up their beds in the ICU. And when a guy came in that was having a heart attack or something, he couldn't get a bed in the ICU because the COVID people were there.
What are you finger quoting for? Because the COVID people are there, right? Like
COVID people. Yeah, the COVID people.
Yeah. Well,
get out of here with that shit, man.
Beep, 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 beep. Beep, 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 beep. But that's fine. And hey, you know what? We're going to have people who are going to have COVID. And you might even have folks who have the vaccine and get COVID. I would say it's a pretty rare instance. I don't know of many cases that are like that, but it's a scenario where I do agree. It's first do no harm. That's the Hippocratic Oath that several, a very high percentage of doctors have to do, as long as they're above board and whatnot. But everybody now has their own agenda, opinion, Twitter, Facebook, blah, blah, blah. Everyone's got their own little mini cosmos of me. And we've made it that way, right? We've made it so people's voices matter, right? And a lot of the times they don't, and it doesn't matter in the slightest, but that's just kind of how it rolls.
I don't like it, but
well, I mean,
what are you gonna do?
Well,
I'm not gonna do nothing.
Yeah, we're not gonna do anything about that, right? Like doctors, I mean, they could literally be operating on you mid-surgery and walk out. That's it. Like they can just do that because they're an autonomous individual. You know, they're a human being that. It is what it is, man. They could just stop. And it's like, well, I kind of have an obligation to help you, but in the end, they're a person, right? So does that mean that they're
getting paid a shit ton of money to help people? Okay. And have for a long time. And so help people. Get off the political bandwagon and help people, man. That's all. There's that you know, nobody's ever going to convince me any different.
Of what?
About a doctor. having any no.
So a doctor can't have an opinion?
Yeah, about what's wrong with me.
But they can't be political.
Yeah, because I want to be heard. That's what you said. I want to be heard. You raise your hand at me.
So that's it, right? They're an autonomous individual, and until we automate friggin' doctors like you see in sci-fi movies, where the surgery's happening with this little computer and with their little hands and their little robots and machines and stuff.
They actually did that on me. They operated on me with a robot. That's what the guy said. Of course, I'm sure he was operating it, probably like a game system or something. But they went in and did their thing and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, it's incredible technology, and eventually they're just going to cut out the middleman, right? Because
here I am, live in the living color.
Well, something that's pretty cool that I've seen recently, not that we like people losing jobs, but that computers can detect things on like a radiology x-ray that the human eye will never be able to detect. We just don't have the skills. Like the eye just can't do that. And a computer can just go, bang, look at this right here. It actually can read charts and read the x-ray and whatnot to a degree in which the human eye just can't. So, eventually we're just going to be replaced by robots. It's going to be robots everywhere. So that'll be kind of wild.
Okay, cool.
Yeah,
I'm good with that.
I'm just waiting for the day, right? Because then we just
that's right.
Give me my UBI and just let me chill.
You kept telling me that they were going to replace me driving a truck, that they would have autonomous trucks that drove by themselves. So soon. I got out while the getting was good, right?
Yeah, let me tell you.
They actually already have them. They
have autonomous vehicles, and what I love is there's like memes online talking about that sort of technology, and they say someone's like, "Hey, we still need you to be in the truck," and the person asks them, "Well, why do I need to be in the truck if it's autonomous?" And the person who owns the truck or owns the whatever, they said, "Well, we still need somebody to blame when it fucks up," which I thought was great. So it was wild.
That sounds perfect.
Yeah.
That sounds perfect.
Yep. That's how it's going to go. So
yeah, that's right.
We're going to have scenarios like that, and it's just going to be nuts, man. So
even though you're sitting in the back seat reading a book, it's your fault that it went off the rails.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I mean, you'll sit in something where there's not even a steering wheel. It'll be like a keyboard and a mouse and something crazy like that, and a joystick or something where it's kind of like the. I'm not sure if you've ever seen it, but people will have like gigantic setups to like fly planes or drive race cars and stuff like that, and they just sit in their cockpit, and it's just a computer chair and fake controls, and they just go. It's wild. So.
Yeah, something that I didn't quite understand, and the guy brought to our attention the other day. They said, they had films of the Afghani people working out in the president's weight room in his house.
Right.
Now, that president left a long time ago. Why didn't they just drop a bomb in there and blow those guys up? They know they're the Taliban. They know they've overrun the presidential palace. They know they're there. They've got missiles that'll go right through the window, probably if it's open without breaking any glass, and just level the presidential palace while all those guys are in there. I don't understand that, and they know they've surrounded Kabul. So if they get good intel and they know where the line of people are and they won't let the Americans in, why don't they breach that line from the air? I don't understand, but
okay.
I don't guess I'm supposed to.
Well, have you heard of the scenario of collateral damage?
Yes.
Right. So let's say they have a hostage or hostages, or they're keeping people in the president's palace, and you're like, well, just blow it up.
Okay.
Now
20 years. We were there 20 years.
Okay, perfect. Perfect. 20 years. Great.
And all the equipment and the 600,000 weapons we left behind and the helicopters and the Humvees. Are you kidding me?
So let's say I'm over there doing ambassador work or whatever, and I'm in that palace. Do you still have the same mentality?
You're not going to be in that palace. They've already emptied it, or they would have killed you. When the Taliban took over the palace, they would have killed you.
I don't know. I'm
you're
a pretty likable guy. I could, pull out some fluffy references or some Jeff Dunham references. I kill you, and try to get on their good side or whatever. But
no, they say I kill you.
Well,
they're killing people in the streets, man. They're killing people in the streets, and anyway, whatever.
Well, something that's kind of interesting there is we've seen videos of
Sprite.
people. Yeah, Sprite. Yeah, we are not sponsored by Sprite. Just as a quick.
No, because it's a little miniature bottle. This thing's like, 4 ounces or something, just enough to wet your whistle.
Well, what I love with those little miniature bottle is you either get 8 ounces or a liter. That's it. You get 8 ounces or a liter, so
you don't get anything in between. Yeah. You get 8 ounces or 80 ounces.
Yeah. That's it. You're getting, there's no in between. You're getting one or the other. Now, granted, one's $1 and then, 8 of the 8 ounces are like $2 or some silliness like that, but still. So kind of wild there, but
what did you find different this trip, changing the subject, from the last trip down here? What did you see that was different?
One thing I thought was amazing and very, very endearing was we had so much American food, Carl Jr.'s, hamburgers, KFC, Chinese food. It was wonderful that I go down there and it was as though, one day you're in, 1 minute you're in Ecuador and the next minute you're just walking down the street like here, just heading to Pizza Hut, Carl Jr.'s, KFC. It's so funny that, that to me was just very endearing and funny, where it's like, well, Dad's going to find him a Pizza Hut, or going to find him some fried chicken, or find him this and whatnot, to have some of the comforts of home, which I thought was great. One thing that was also pretty different, I don't want to say necessarily different because it was kind of the same, but something that was more difficult was finding diet beverages, right? Stuff with sin as a car, right? Where no sugar. And that was just tough to do because they don't make that very apparent. Now, however, Ecuadorians, much like everywhere else, they come in all shapes and sizes, right? So you have the person who looks like they haven't eaten in, days, and then you had the guy who looked like me, who's about to apply for Chubbindales, your TM, trademarked Chubbindales, right? Where they're in their Speedo at the beach, and it looks like they've never missed a meal ever. So that was pretty interesting. Another different part about it was, riding the scooters around. That was pretty different. For the limited amount of time we could do that. That was kind of cool. And also staying in what was the equivalent to a summer camp hotel, which was great, super cool. Because it kind of gave me a little bit of nostalgia, where it's like, oh, all right, lights out, time to go back to your bunk and stuff. Gotta head over here, All right, your camp counselor sitting outside with the shotgun, making sure that no one's gonna come and steal your crap. And it's like, all right, thank you, sir. Yes, appreciate it. So
shout out to the El Jardín Hotel.
Yeah,
and, kilometer marker 10.5.
Kilometer 10.5. Via data. YS Ecuador, El Jardín Hosteria. So head on down there.
That's
excellent,
exactly right.
Excellent rates, excellent people, great food. Very clean room. I had to share it with a couple lizards, but we got along pretty well. They did not ask me whether or not I wanted better insurance or not, which was very convenient. However, if they would have, I wouldn't have been able to understand because they probably spoke in Spanish. So
there you go.
But yeah, it was.
I just wondered, other than us being a permanent resident, if you saw much difference.
Well, like that just changed things overall, right? Where it was very different. Like, hey, you and I and Pat and the dogs and the cats and whatnot, like just chilled, versus go here, go here, go here, go here. And we're moving around a lot, and because with Bob we were just go. We got to do something, and then with you and myself, we're just gonna chill. We're gonna shoot the breeze out in the gazebo and just hang out, and it's not gonna offend either one of us just to sit there for several hours and just chit chat and catch up and reminisce and move on. So that was pretty cool.
Right. That's good.
Oh yeah. No, it was absolutely wonderful. And the only difference this time was feeling targeted at the airport, where they're like, "Oh, we're gonna get this guy. We're gonna get him." And it's like, okay, there's all my dirty clothes. Would you like to put them in the laundry before I get on my plane? Like, leave me alone, damn it. So that was that was pretty wild. But I told some buddies of mine, I was like, I felt targeted. And then I think to myself, I know what it's like to be, in air quotes, a second-rate citizen or whatever, my victim card just popped out, and I was like, I know exactly
you were a minority
like
down here, weren't you?
Yeah, no shit. I was like, I know what it's like to be downtrodden, and it's like, nah, man, just sit in your first class seat and shut the fuck up. So,
that's right.
That was definitely how it was. If I can, I need to try to cut in the video that I have of the seat that I showed you, because that was freaking wild, like absolutely incredible. What that seat?
American Airlines, baby.
America, baby. So
American Airlines. Yep.
Well, something that was a little bit wild to me, that if I understood this person correctly, the steward for the first class seats, because I think there were about 16 or 20 of us up in the very front, right, with our wild ass lounge chairs. And the guy says, "Welcome, give us a minute, and we'll, start taking your orders and start doing this and that." And they were like, "And you can get rid of this." And he pointed to his face, because he was wearing a mask, but I was under the impression, I'm like, are you telling me that I can take my mask off?
Is that what he was telling you?
I don't know, because he did that, and I'm like, is this a trap? Like, are you trying to trap me? Because my thought was this: I'm going to take the mask off, set it to the side, and then go to sleep. Well, they tell you on the planes, if you're going to sleep, keep the mask on so we don't have to wake you up. And I'm thinking to myself, is this a trick? Like, are you planning on waking me up? Because I will fight you 35,000 feet up in the air, man, if you're going to, my seat's all the way horizontal, and, I'm actually in a bit of REM sleep, and then, they're going to wake you up and be like, hey, man, you need to put your mask back on. I would just lose my mind, because I was very fortunate that out of my 3-hour and 38-minute flight, I think I got about 3 hours of sleep, which was awesome. Like, that was just incredible. So, very, very much worth it, especially when I was running around in Miami trying to get through customs, because I did not have global entry, but I have it now. Thanks, Miami. And, they dinged me they were like, hey, you're, what's it called? They're like,
TSA pre-check?
No. It's like you are pending approval, or like you're temporarily approved, or you're you had like semi-approved status, and they said, "Do you want to just finish this today?" And I was like, "Done. Let's do it."
Yeah, you were pending approval, and they just signed off on it.
And they were like, "Hey, cool, let's do this." And they said, one thing that I thought was great, and of course, my sister will hear this, and it's going to be fantastic. Because they ask you, they said, "Well, what do you want global entry for?" And I'm thinking, none of your damn business. But it's like, yeah, they're U.S. Customs. It is a business. And I asked, they're like, "Well, what do you want this for?" And I said, "Well, my father just moved to Ecuador, so I plan on going back and forth and making sure you're all right if you need anything, yada, yada." And they said, "Okay, cool." And I said, "Yeah, I need to get my sister back down there." And the guy looks very seriously at me, and he's like, "Well, global entry only works for one person." And I said, "Yeah, I know. I'm going to leave her ass in the long ass line. I'm going right here at global entry kiosk, man." And he just started laughing. It was good stuff, and hopefully able to break up the monotony of his day with, I'm sure, folks who are just sitting there like, everyone, like, it's early, they're put out, they're short-staffed, and it's just like, oh, come on, man. So,
come on, man. Exactly.
So that was different, and it was great. Cool. Like, one thing I think is really kind of wild is they gave me like a I'm coming back in, and you got to go through customs, and then connecting flights, right? I mean, you've done this, and then you got to go through security again. And I'm like, when do I have time to get slipped something or whatever? And so they hand me this gigantic flyer looking thing, gigantic blue and red lettering stuff, and it's a TSA pre-check voucher that says, oh, okay, this guy's cool. And it was great because in Ecuador and in the second security check, I'm going to take off my shoes, and they're like, hold up, stop, don't stop this. And I thought in Ecuador, like, they wanted to tell me, this isn't America. Don't take your shoes off. It's all good. We don't care. Like, blow the plane up or whatever. It's all good. And then when I got the TSA pre-check little voucher, they're like, all right, just empty your pockets, because I'm ready to take out my laptop and blah, 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 because that's like the only thing that they really want you to do. But it was so arbitrary that it's like, cool, you gave me this little voucher that you're going to throw away. You're going to look in my backpack with x-ray, and then it was just like a waste of time. And in Ecuador, they stopped me at security when they looked at my backpack through the x-ray machine, and they said, hey, can we inspect your bag? I'm like, I don't give a crap. You can do whatever you want with the bag, man. Keep the bag. I don't give a shit. And
just don't take the peanut butter out of the bag I'm taking, Dad.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. So, well, this one I was flying back in Ecuador. They look at the thing and they said, "Is there a machine in your backpack?" And I'm like, "No." And of course, I took my laptop out, set that out to the side, and that was in a separate bin. And they look in there. And of course, I pull out my Cheetos, right? I pull out my.
You got a 50-foot extension cord in there too, though.
I have cords out the wazoo, so it looks as though with all the cords in there, and of course they're looking like, what is this person doing? Well, I am like a crappy geek warrior where I'm gonna have an extension cord, I'm gonna have all my plugs. I'm going to have my charger for my laptop, my phone, my watch, Apple Watch, and all that. And they look at it all, and they're like, sorry, put your shit back in there and get out of here. And I was like, okay, cool, thanks. So that was just very humorous at 11 at night. And Jahaldo, man, he was not playing. We got there at like an hour and 20 minutes. And the dude got up to miles per hour. He got up to like 85, I think, in a car that's about this big. So, not playing.
Yeah.
But
smallest car in the world, and they're doing 125 kilometers. I'm like,
right.
Damn.
Well,
Yeah.
what I thought was incredible was that he was like Tango Frio, which is like it's cold, right? And he stops at his house and has his wife bring him a friggin' sweater.
Really?
And I'm thinking, dude,
Wow.
leave the sweater in the car, man. I mean, what?
Right.
It's gonna be chilly driving on the dirt road, the deserted road out there where it's a nice road. It's all paved and it's all nice, but it's going to be chilly out there, man. And like, he's got the windows down and all this stuff. And he's like, you good? And I said, yeah, muy gordo, man. I'm fine. This is great. Like, just, let me meditate before I have to go in here to the airport and try to function as a person. So.
Right. Right.
But
wow.
yeah, it was it was something else, man. Great coming down there to see you, and I do appreciate y'all having me and whatnot. And it was super cool, and we'll work on getting the rest of the family down there and see if we're gonna.
Well, I don't want them all. We don't want them all down here. So.
No, it's all or nothing, buddy. So.
Yeah.
It is what it is. But awesome. Well, we've hit the hour mark. Is there anything else that you would like to talk about?
Oh, I'm good, man.
All
Been
right.
a good conversation.
Hey,
Thanks for having me.
That was wild. Topic. Boom. As you say, click, boom.
Click, click, boom. That's right.
Yes. What a wonderful song. Everyone listen to click, boom or whatever. So thank you all very, very so much for watching the Jaye and Thomas podcast, and we will catch you all in the next episode.
See you.